One of the petitions that comes before the General Conference of 2,000 petitions is divestiture in the companies that are doing business with the settlements in the West Bank. And so I want to give you a chance, Reverend Awad, to respond. What would you say to those delegates about the same idea?
Well, the peace movement around the world is seeking ways to stop the occupation. And they are seeking non-violent ways to stop the Israeli occupation of the West Bank. And they are trying to tell the Palestinians, you can be liberated, but try to think of nonviolence. So we are asking the international community, okay, how are you going to do it? One of the ideas is to divest from Israeli companies that are encouraging the occupation of the West Bank. So we are not saying divestment means to divest from all Israeli companies or all Israeli commercial ties and so on. We are focusing on companies that are supporting the occupation. And we are saying these companies should be boycotted. I'll give you a simple example. One afternoon, one of my students, his name is Tony, I'm a teacher at a Bible college. Tony called me and he said, Reverend Awad, my land is being taken over by Israeli settlers. The bulldozers are in my land. Please come and help me. Well, I thought, well, I'm a pastor. I'm a teacher at a Bible college. I'm not even a politician, and I don't have any weapons. How can I help you? Well, I could not say no. So I called my cousin, a lawyer, Jonathan Kutab, and the next day, about 4 or 5 of us went to the land, and sure enough, the bulldozers, were digging in the land, in Tony's land, and his family, and they were trying to confiscate that land and make it a new Jewish settlements. So we spoke with the people. We say, please stop bulldozing the land. This is not your land. We showed them the paper. We showed them the deeds. They said, no, God gave us the land. Well, how can you argue with the person who tells you that God gave me the land? So it was very difficult for us. Then Jonathan decided, okay, there's only one way to stop them. And he went and stood in front of the caterpillar, in front of the bulldozer. And we had no choice but to stop with him. I was terrified. I'm not used to this kind of nonviolent resistance. But we did. Finally, they stopped. And the police came, and the police said, all right, you two groups, bring your papers, the title for the land, and tomorrow we'll have discussion. So the next day, we brought our papers, because the people have their papers, their deed for the land. The other group don't have any papers, so they didn't show up the next day. Thank goodness, we won the battle. But here's the problem. We are saying to the Caterpillar company, don't be used as a tool of injustice in the Holy Land. And if you continue, we will divest. So these are the companies that we are targeting for divestments. Companies that are supporting the takeover of Palestinian land illegally.
And you've made very clear why you feel like that's not a good idea.
There's a letter that has been drafted and signed by hundreds of rabbis, and I'm proud to be one of those signatories to this letter. A letter from the American rabbis to our Christian neighbors regarding divestment proposals. And I just want to read a little portion of that letter. It's not a long letter, but just a portion of it. We, the undersigned rabbis, reach out in hope to our Christian friends and neighbors. We have close relationships, deeply treasured and shaped over many years. We are partners on many social issues, including fostering peace between Israelis and Palestinians. Any place in which a single human being suffers, we all suffer. We understand and respect your calling to invest in a morally responsible manner. Invest in a morally responsible manner. A policy of divestment to pressure Israel runs counter to these goals. Such a one-sided approach damages the relationship between Jews and Christians that has been nurtured for decades. For Jews, the use of economic leverages against the Jewish state is fraught with inescapable associations. They resonate in the Jewish consciousness with the historic boycotts against Jewish companies and the State of Israel. They are experienced by Jews as a part of a pattern of singling out Jews for attack. To determine and continue policies that knowingly tap into the deepest fears and pain of another is, in our tradition, a serious failure of relationship. At a time when politics in general have become so divisive, here and abroad, our efforts should be aimed toward reconciliation. Together and independently, Christians, Jews, and Muslims must give the parties to the conflict the confidence they need to work toward peace. There are many meaningful coexistence programs that can foster a generation of Israelis and Palestinians that will work and live side by side. And the letter goes on for a couple more paragraphs. But that letter, I think, reflects what the attitude is of the American Jewish opinion, particularly the rabbinic opinion in this country, all across the board, Reform, Conservative, Orthodox. There are those who have signed from all three primary branches of the Jewish world, saying to our Methodist and Presbyterian friends, please don't do this. It will only feed into, as I said earlier, really the arguments of extremism. It will not bring sides together. It will only bring people further apart and create even harder and more divisive tactics to follow.
Very good. This has been very helpful to hear eloquently spoken, the case for, the case against, and basically we're talking about the monies that are invested in our United Methodist pension funds and other funds that are set aside by the denomination. Those are invested in a variety of tools, and the question is, do we continue to invest in these companies that are a part of the doing business in the West Bank and or continuing this activity in the West Bank? And you've both made eloquent cases on either side. Thank you.